So every time you change a shirt, you change a scent.
Well, it's the same scent.
Okay, do you have a scent for above decks and below decks?
Yeah, but the below deck is only applied in the morning.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. Whoa. Are you telling me, are you confessing that you have a ball and butthole cologne?
Well, no, I have Gold Bond.
Oh, okay. So it's Gold Bond.
Oh,
but
you
it's
can't
not,
go wrong with a powder, man.
Okay.
It keeps it dry, man.
But I was just wondering, like, yes, I have a citrus spritz.
Eau de fudge.
Oh, God.
From the kitchens of Martha Stewart.
I like my undercarriage to smell like flowers and grapefruits. Thank you, Tommy Hilfiger.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Rock and Roll the Podcast, featuring Dr. Nick Redbone, Tom Nelson, and me,
The inimitable Broc Johnson.
Today's show is brought to you by
Power Plant Car Audio and Accessories, Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. You can find them on the interwebs at powerplantweb.com.
your damn clap.
I'm sorry about that. I jumped in way too soon. Oh,
You
man.
really are anti-clap.
Yeah.
Such a, you
ever had the clap?
You're going
That's
to
why.
make a cranky old dick.
I was going to buy a shirt that
I'm
was
right
screen
here.
printed. Like, I'll have to show you the graphic. I came up with one that had, like, the clapping hands from good old-fashioned Windows wingdings.
Okay,
Remember the
yeah.
hands? And then the international no symbol that says just say no to the clap. But they wouldn't print it. It was offensive.
Well, I'm not offended by it at all. I'm offended by the fact that they won't print it because it's offensive.
If you're a screen printer and you'd like to print me an inappropriate shirt, let me know.
What's Windows Wingdings?
Wingdings was that font, and I think it still exists. Nobody uses it anymore, but it was that font that was all symbols.
It was just gibberish. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be like a smiley
know the name
face or
for
a
it.
hand or, there was Wingdings, there was Wingdings 1, there was Wingdings 2, there was Wingdings 3, and then there was Webdings.
Sounds like something you'd get at KFC.
See,
Yeah.
there were some of us that when we were teenagers, we were chasing girls and doing drugs.
I was chasing Wingdings and Windows 3.1.
But remember, you can come to one of the people here for help with your computer. Come to the other two, try and score you a bag of weed.
You celebrated getting laid. I celebrated getting a Windows 3.1 386 machine on the internet using Trumpet WinSock and a portable 14.4 modem. Remember 14.4, the original dial-up? Actually, the 9600 baud was the original.
And that's been Rock and Roll the Podcast.
No,
Tip your
one
waitress.
One of my greatest accomplishments as a nerd was to take a computer that rolled out well before the internet was a thing, and then I figured out how to get it online using dial-up internet.
Congratulations.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
It was programming radio stations before I ever got laid.
Yeah. How old were you when you lost your virginity?
Oh, God, at 19 or 20.
Okay.
I was a late bloomer.
Okay. What about Tommy?
I'm still waiting.
So are your kids.
You bastard! Yeah, so are my kids. How did that happen? The milkman.
that damn milkman. There was how old are you?
We had a milkman growing up. In fact, I had an extensive conversation about the milkman with my son just the other day. He'd show up at 4 a.m, Country Boy Dairy.
Mm-hmm.
He'd give you a little list, just like when you go order sushi. It was one of those cards.
Right.
You told him what you wanted. You left it in the box with some money, and then you would wake up in the morning and there would be milk in the box.
Yeah, man. Like
maybe
a
it was
metal box, right?
Yeah, maybe it was an upper Midwestern thing.
Country boy, the taste of Jamestown.
It was awesome.
I just gave him a jingle. If you use that Country Boy Dairies, you guys owe me money.
If there's still somebody delivering milk, I don't think anybody's delivering milk anymore. Well, maybe. I don't know.
I think.
Okay, well, they better send the bill.
Yeah,
maybe.
Send the bill to somebody. Okay. By the way, thank you. We're over 100 subscribers.
103, you said.
Yeah, we are over 103. A great number for the number of subscribers.
Sure is.
So now there's going to be some more stuff we can do with it. Just keep your eyes on the YouTube channel. We're having a blast with it, and it's only we're only going up from here, unless of course we lose subscribers,
Which is entirely possible
and deserved. To be
So
really
what kind
honest.
of tools do we get with the more subscribers?
I don't know. I've been
Yeah,
blowing
not
that line
really-
of bullshit out for a while, but
I don't really know either. I
We
just
get-
know that 100 was the milestone.
we can now get our own URL, our custom URL.
Okay.
And we also now can monetize the channel.
Oh, with the commercials. And stuff.
Yeah. So it, and of course, any pennies we make are just going to go back into the podcast to make it bigger. Like we're looking for our next move. We were just talking about this. Is we want to get like a semicircular table so we're not doing this.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like we're doing the Chernobyl hearings.
And I've never seen a semicircle table at like a Costco, but I've got to believe like an office supply place could get one.
Yeah.
Or like a TV supply, like
Yeah.
one of our radio TV vendor
Or just
people.
buy an IKEA one. It'll end up that way anyway.
Well, you could buy the
those
circular
crafty-
table and just jigsaw it in half.
Hey.
Shop class. Oh, nice.
This is my friend Broc the Bigfoot. He's back. Did you just have to wipe? Did you burp and have something to wipe?
It's the sweat.
Okay, God, I was hoping you had like burp remnants you had to wipe away.
I burped droplets of Diet Dew on my forehead. I'm that good.
So today's episode is about the guy that tends to be as important to the sound of the if not more important to the sound of a record than the guys who wrote it and play it. We're talking about the producers.
It's like another member of the band. almost.
100%. That's exactly the way a producer should be. And the producer plays a different role depending on who is footing the bill.
Yeah.
Whoever's paying for the record to be made, chances are they're also the one paying a producer. So if the label has said, we're bringing in this band, we're paying for them, they're going to be in Capitol Studios in LA, here's who we're bringing in to produce. And he's going to have huge sway because he's going to tell the kids, hey man, they're paying me to make you sound good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the producer, and I want to
And that can backfire, which is something we can get into later on in the
sure
podcast.
can, yeah.
It especially happens in pop with young females.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to explain kind of what the producer is and what they do, because I think people get confused between the producer and the engineer. The engineer is the guy you see at the board. He's the one setting up the microphones. He's the one getting the sounds. He's the one who's really the tech guy on set. He's got his hands involved in all of the actual equipment and the capturing of the sounds of the equipment.
And he's typically the guy who mixes the record when all is said and done as well.
Right.
He'll be the one pushing the buttons and turning the knobs, but he'll still probably have the band and the producer overseeing all of it. Yes, but the engineer is the guy. He's the hands-on tech guy for sure. The producer is sort of the superintendent of the work site. Almost, it's his responsibility to not only make sure that it sounds great. He's the one who's going to tell the engineer, this is what we need, this is what we need. But he's also the one that when the band brings the songs in the early stages is going to say, that you're playing, that's too fast. Why not take that, cut it in half and make it this? That part you think is a bridge? I don't think so. I think that's a verse. Let's take that chorus. Let's do it twice. Let's put a verse before it and then a verse after it. You need a pre-chorus. He's the guy. He's the hit maker. He's the one who takes the band's idea and makes it something people will actually want to pay for.
While you were saying all that, I did the math in my head. I was actually 21.
When you lost your virginity?
Yeah.
I was like,
We're going back to the future.
Okay, carry on.
Is there any way you can put in now? And I keep pushing your limits here. Is there any way you can put in some sort of weird wobbly time effect in there, like some sort of like get us some distortion and some because something happened there.
Sure.
Okay, that's fantastic. I don't know what
It's
year
just
it
that
is
I
now.
stopped paying attention to you and started paying attention to the things in my head.
Oh, so you're one of my kids.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, 21. I was legally buying beer before
Before you had sex
popped my cherry.
with a girl.
Yeah.
Okay. There was no producer involved in that. I'm trying to bring it back, and I don't think I can. Have you already broken the podcast?
Yeah.
the cherry's been popped.
And that's
Unquestioned.
been rock and roll. The Power plant!
Power plant! Power plant! Power plant!
Nope. Oh, he's sad now.
Did you
we
guys,
made him
by the way,
sad.
did we give Power Plant their love right off the
beginning?
top of the show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking, and so yeah.
Yeah, Tom does
paid
that.
attention.
No, Tommy, look, I'm always paying attention. It's not, look, we've already proven it's this asshole who just tunes out and starts thinking,
Yeah.
when did I have sex?
That's what happened in my head.
Did you know I had sex the first time July 3rd, 1987?
I was born July 4th, 1984. I was 3.
Tommy?
I've seen fireworks on the 4th of July. I don't really. No. I don't. I don't know the date of when it went down.
Yeah, I don't have a date in my head.
It was.
Let me guess. Was Carter president?
I think it was Johnson.
Or was it Rutherford B. Hayes?
Hayes.
The patron saint of Rock and Roll the Podcast, our 19th president. Yes. Rutherford B. Hayes. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay.
That was awesome.
So we're talking about producers. This is going to be a tough one because we're all in the mood to not do anything serious.
Well, and I think
How about some Malort? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Break up the Malort.
Nope.
No.
To hell with it. If you kind of turn into a music junkie, like you end up with favorite producers, just like you end up with favorite bands.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
think. I've
For sure.
got a few in my head.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I would say, and there are certain producers who, legendary producers who became real pioneers. They changed kind of the way the game works. The first celebrity producer that comes to mind to me has got to be George Martin, the guy that produced the Beatles. Tommy, could you speak to that a little bit too? Because I think he's the one who taught the Beatles how to use the studio as an instrument.
Oh, yeah, he was such a big influence. I mean, they were so young, and they just needed some direction. They had the talent, obviously, but he was able to I think he was able to science out exactly what each individual member could and couldn't do, and made it all coalesce.
What a great point.
And
because a producer has to come in and know the limitations of the band.
The strengths and the weaknesses of each member.
What am I working with? That's a great point.
So I think that was his deal with the Beatles.
And think about the evolution of the Beatles, and he was with them for every album. He was with them during Meet the Beatles, their bubblegum phase, all the way up into, through Abbey Road and Sgt. Pepper, when they were really stretching out and really doing, he never got in the way of their creativity, but it seems like he was the one who sort of taught them how to harness it and how to use the space. And of course, they were in one of the most famous studios in the world doing it too, especially in the later period. So I think Martin was one of those guys. He paved the way for the producer as pioneer. And then right around that same period, Phil Spector.
Phil Spector was the first one that came to my head. Because, there's things that Phil Spector did that are still being done today.
Oh,
he changed the game.
Yeah, no question. He invented that wall of sound. The wall of sound, and Tommy, jump in here too, because I know you've actually dealt with more of these recordings than I have. The wall of sound would be, instead of just putting in the basic, drum, guitar, bass, piano, keyboard, percussionist, vocalists, he would fill the room. He'd have like 3 piano players. He'd have a horn section, 3 bass players, 5 guitar players,
Yeah, it's all layering, and he would it might be 3 of the same instrument playing the same thing.
Yeah.
And just so that, again, that wall of sound, it was huge, and he did that for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't think Queen would have been Queen without what Phil Spector did well before Queen.
What a great take. You're right, because that's a great take, because they made their sound so big, so full, so lush. It's almost like Bohemian Rhapsody is like a full-on extension of what the wall of sound started. That's a great way to look at it.
And, in his case, Phil Spector's case, to add to his being a great producer, he was also a songwriter. So he brought that kind of game into the studio, too, which just took his value up, quite a bit. And his wigs.
And his wigs.
And then he cut a bitch and went to prison for the rest of his life.
Cut a bitch.
Remember, the members of Rock and Roll the Podcast want to encourage you all, don't cut a bitch.
Yeah.
Can we get the more you know?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Oh,
I would really see. Now I've wanted to feature that for a long time.
I have it downloaded. It's in my folder. I just haven't had a place to put it yet.
And now
we do.
The more you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. I love this job. Now, moving forward with producers, there were some guys, and I know I'm a broken record when it comes to this, but there were some guys that were in the bands that were also spectacular producers. Wait, no, Tom's having a psychic. He's going to pull this one out.
I'm guessing. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Oh, he's taking it. It's on the producer line.
Hello? That's what I was going to say. Hang on. Thank you.
She told you it was December 9th, 2004, didn't she?
And you loved it. Oh, 3 seconds. It was the best.
And that's been Rock and Roll.
You've closed this podcast several times. Yeah.
Jimmy Page.
Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page produced all of the Zeppelin records, and he's the only one. He has sole producer credit. And from what I understand, there was never any question that it was ever going to be. He had the vision of what he wanted the records to sound like, and he had the knowledge and the experience to do it because he'd been a sessions guy in his teens and early 20s. So he'd been in studios for so long, he kind of knew how it worked.
Another case of a band member being producer, Brian Wilson.
Oh, Brian Wilson from the Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys. He didn't need any help in that great documentary that I forced you guys to watch about the Wrecking Crew. Even those people said, "Well, he's a genius."
Oh, I had no idea that Brian Wilson was even a producer until I watched that movie, and then you're like, "Holy hell!"
Yeah, and when those guys, the best musicians of an era, say he's the only real genius I've ever worked with, and these are guys that worked with Phil Spector.
Yeah,
and
I was going to say Phil Spector worked with Wrecking.
Yeah. He Brian Wilson was absolutely. And then you see producers who. One of them that comes to mind, and I remember even hearing a story about him as we move forward, producers who became so great at selling records, at making hits that sold, back when album sales mattered, moving huge numbers of units of records that they almost by reputation were making more money than the bands. The guy that comes to mind is Mutt Lange.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Mutt Lange produced the two huge Def Leppard records, Pyromania and Hysteria. He produced Back in Black by AC/DC, and then he met this little Canadian singer, and he fell in love with her, followed her to Nashville,
and then cheated on her with her best friend.
Okay, so Mutt Lange's kind of a piece of shit.
Talk about trading down. I don't know what this other chick is like.
But it's hard to top Shania Twain.
Oh, man. Mutt Lange married Shania Twain, and I remember seeing like a documentary about. I know you're stunned. I watched a music documentary about him coming to Nashville. I mean, he'd been an LA producer. He was that guy, or in England too, but he was a rock guy. And he comes to Nashville, and he brings all of his sensibilities, and the rest of the Nashville studio scene was like, one of this guy's records sold more than everything Nashville moved last year.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you listen to that first big Shania Twain record and put it next to a Def Leppard record, sonically, they have that same sheen, that same polish, that same, top-notch musicianship. It's tight, it's compact.
I think he doesn't even sing backup on some of Shania's stuff.
He might.
I think he does.
Yeah, he might. He very, very talented guy.
Did he produce, because, and not that we want to spend a bunch of time talking about country music, but Shania's, the breakthrough album was The Woman in Me.
Yeah.
And that was 1995.
Yep.
But she had that record that came out a couple of years prior to that didn't really have a lot of commercial success. It was her in a coat with like an Alaskan Malamute or something.
And I don't think so. I think music video off that one, because she was, she's a beautiful woman, still is to this day.
Yeah.
I think that's what helped break her, CMT and whatnot. I think Mutt Lange jumped on that 95 record, on the big one.
That's what I was thinking too, but I can't remember.
And I don't know. And if anybody, if you do your homework and you know better, don't even put it in the comments, because I don't give a shit. Like and subscribe.
You're a charm.
I am a charm. Okay, but anyway, Mutt and I remember seeing Def Leppard talking about how he would make them do records. He was creative, but he was also a taskmaster. You were going to play it perfectly, and he had an ear for perfect. You could try and fake it. You think you got it past him. You'd never get it past him. He would make you play until your fingers fell off, but you would get perfect takes. Listen to, and then of course, he was also involved in the song structuring and making the arrangements. There's one thing to write the song. You write the song, but then you have to create the arrangement. Okay, we've got these parts. They sound great. What order do we put them in? How long are they? What are they? How many times do we do them? And he was a master at that. Go listen to, whether you're a Def Leppard fan or not, go listen to Hysteria. That's a greatest hits album. Everything on there. I think it had 7 top 10 tunes that came off it.
Yeah.
7 top 10s. That's genius. And as far as commercially successful, that record sold like 14 million copies.
It was bigger than U.S. Steel.
That was a Godfather reference. Thank you, Tommy.
You're welcome.
Godfather 2, as a matter of fact.
Is that a movie?
Son of a bitch. God,
So, was the movie called Son of a Bitch?
No. Well, there is going to be a movie called Son of a Bitch. The Broc Johnson story. The story of a lonely Bigfoot and his adventures through the world of radio. Broc, of course, will be CGI. And I will be played by the late, great Matthew McConaughey. This just in, Matthew McConaughey, still dead.
That poor man.
Yeah. I feel like I kind of wanted to, I got to tell you, last week's episode when you mentioned that I did a good Matthew McConaughey, like that really went to my head. And now I'm trying to find ways to shoehorn some McConaughey in to various stuff. And I haven't found a place for him here yet. But I'm sure I will.
But we're not done yet.
Oh, no. And I want to thank you for giving me that boost of confidence. I really need it.
Your Matthew McConaughey is spot on.
Aw. I just want to thank you a whole bunch for that. Thank you.
Well, that was Bill Clinton. I don't
God
know what the hell
damn
happened.
And my dream is shattered.
Shadooby.
Stones reference.
From me? No.
I know. So another producer that has made more recent than Mutt Lange is a guy that worked on one of the most famous albums ever. I'm talking about Vig.
Butch Vig.
Butch Vig.
Yeah.
He was the drummer for Garbage. Did you know that? The drummer for Garbage, and also happened to produce Nirvana's Nevermind, an album that literally changed the music business, changed the way rock music sounded forever. One of the high watermarks, and Dave Grohl still brings him in to do Foo Fighters records. He just has a great ear for it. He has a great, he knew, especially he talks about working with Kurt Cobain. Kurt was a genius. Kurt needed somebody to get the essence of those songs. He wanted to communicate them. He wasn't the best guitar player in the world. He wasn't the best singer in the world, but he wrote these powerful, beautiful songs. And Butch knew what conditions he needed to put Kurt in to get them. The song, Something in the Way, the beginning of that, he said he had Kurt laying on his back, lightly strumming the acoustic guitar, and he brought the microphone down to him and turned the lights in the room down to get the feel right.
That's a good producer.
That's a good producer.
Yep.
I mean, and speaking to somebody who's done lots and lots and lots of studio hours, you can. I mean, if you change the vibe in the room and the feel in the room and the lights different, or I can tell you, I played differently during the winter than I did during the summer because of the amount of daylight. I mean, it sounds goofy, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're a prog rock weirdo too.
That's the second time you've insulted me. First, you brought me up with Matthew McConaughey, and then you dashed him against
because
the
you
rocks.
didn't do Matthew McConaughey. You did Bill Clinton. That wasn't your McConaughey. Go back to episode 34. That was a good McConaughey. What you just did, that piece of shit, that was a bad Bill Clinton.
Let me tell you this right now.
See, that's...
If I decide to go full McConaughey on you, I'm going to get so skinny that I'm going to slide down the pipes here at the building. I'm going to come up in your plumbing at your house. And then we're going to get crazy. Whoa.
Oh, and he's out.
How was that?
Stay out of my pipes.
How was that McConaughey, though?
That's not a good McConaughey. It's not maybe I was just high last
week. Are you
week.
telling me I had one good McConaughey in me and I wasted it?
You did.
On you pieces of shit?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
My Bigfoot, however, still spot on.
17.
Spot on. Yeah.
17.
You were 17?
Oldsmobile custom cruiser station wagon. Black, had the fake wood paneling on the side.
Oh, beautiful.
Rocket 455 V8 under the hood.
Ooh.
Yeah. Luggage rack on top.
Really? What was his name?
That's for me to know and you to
Rutherford
find out.
B. Hayes.
Rutherford B. Hayes.
Cool.
You may have porked him, but that does not mean we have to disrespect him.
He was a porking good president. Rutherford B. Hayes.
Oh. There's one more producer that I think we need to get to, and if we don't do it now, we're never going to.
Sure.
Another one of those guys that made polished, huge selling rock records, probably most famous for taking Metallica from one level to the top of the world. I'm talking about Bob Rock. He produced the Black Album.
I was going to say, he didn't produce Saint Anger.
No, he did not. He produced, he did the Black Album. He did Fuel. Load, and then Reload. Fuel was on Load.
Fuel was on Reload.
Matthew.
You know what? You just
That's the Metallica that I got into. And so a lot of the Metallica stuff that I really like. Really?
Really?
A lot of the Metallica stuff that I really like is what a lot of diehard Metallica fans are, that's when they jump the shark.
But here's the thing, and I'm one of those guys. Those first 4 Metallica albums are my Metallica, but they didn't sell. They sold, but not like the Bob Rock records.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else he did? Before that one, the record they heard and they went, we want ours to sound like that, was Dr. Feelgood by Motley Crue, which was a humongo record.
Oh, yeah.
Had a world tour, sold a zillion copies. He's another one of those guys. He knows how to get that depth. He knew what Metallica needed. He boiled down the essence of Metallica. Heavy, fast sometimes, but he slowed them down. He got more depth into their sound, more bass, more warmth, and he made James Hetfield sing as opposed to bark. That's my only complaint, because James Hetfield, and let us be clear, not a great singer.
No, most rock singers aren't, though.
No.
I don't think they have to be, though.
No. They don't have to be. And Bob Rock proved that. Once again, bringing it back around, he proved that. The guy made hits.
Mm-hmm.
We skipped a cat that I think Tommy has more knowledge than I know. He has more knowledge on it than I do. And he produced one of my favorite records of all time, Todd Rundgren.
Ooh, yeah.
The producer of Bat Out of Hell.
Yeah.
Now, how much of Rundgren stuff do you know?
I don't know a lot of it. I just know that the cat is so talented. He is a multi-instrumentalist.
Right.
He what's his big hit? I can't think of it right now. Plays every instrument he's playing trombone, he's playing drums, he's playing all the horns, everything, keyboard, plays it all. So he's just a mad creative individual. And now he's hanging out with Ringo and his all-star band.
Okay.
He is really good, but this guy, I don't know, he had personal issues, maybe he was having a little too much fun on the side.
Yeah.
Mad good, but just never really got the respect I think he should have as a producer or as a performer. But as a producer, I think he just, like the good ones will do, they know what to get out of the people that that are playing for him, that they're working with, and making it grow.
And
that's
think
about
what he had to do. He takes a meeting with Meatloaf and Jim Steinman, and they come in and demo those songs.
Yeah.
All these pianos and these huge vocals.
Yeah.
And it took, Rundgren had to look at that and go, I can make that a record. And, he played I think he played the lion's share of the guitar on that record, but he took these songs that were basically sketches that had dreams of being these big, majestic scenes, these worlds within worlds. And he did it.
Yeah.
He pulled it off, man. The guy's a genius. If you listen to, it's the motorcycle crash I think it's the song Bat Out of Hell, the actual title track.
Yeah.
The motorcycle sounds that go straight into a guitar solo, that's him. And it's one take from to into the guitar solo. He just did that as part of his job of being the producer. Yeah. He brought the tones.
I think, and it's surely not true in every situation, but to have your producer in the band has got to be a pain in the ass for the rest of the band.
For sure.
And a perfect example is John Feldman, who I respect tremendously. I mean, he's the guy who basically created pop punk. He's the frontman of Goldfinger, which is a fantastic pop punk band, has been forever.
Goldfinger.
But if you look at Goldfinger's lineup, that was really nice.
Thank you.
Really nice.
Little bomb
Goldfinger's lineup today, John Feldman is the only dude who was originally in the band. Everybody else has left, and I don't know the story. Maybe it's completely unrelated. But to have a producer in the band has got to be a pain in the ass because he's always listening for more than just what the band is. You know what I'm trying to say?
I do, absolutely. Absolutely. And I can tell you that, excuse me, being in a band, as long as I was in a band that did studio projects, we didn't have a producer. Unfortunately, we had 5 producers.
Yeah.
And
not fun.
Well, and for the most part, we would kind of be in the same, we'd be thinking the same thing. But when we didn't, then you've got, everybody has an investment because we've all written it. And now we're all fighting for our baby the way we think our baby should be heard, when we should have had that sixth person outside making the executive decision.
That's another element to being a producer, is being that neutral third party.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And you can be neutral, but at the same time, you can't let the band push you over. There's a reason you're producing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be, you can't favor this guy over this guy, or you can, but you're going to run into some trouble.
Exactly.
Yeah. To your point, having someone in the band be a producer, I mean, that's just, nobody wants to cede any authority, and
Right.
screw this guy's opinion, and whatever.
Yeah.
And you really do see those. I think those clashes come down between the songwriter and the producer. The songwriter wants it his way because that's his vision, and the producer wants to be able to sell that vision. He'd love to get paid on that vision because he's getting residuals too.
Yep.
I remember hearing Mutt Lange talk about, or somebody else was talking about his take. Def Leppard had a bunch of these intricate guitar parts and whatnot in Hysteria, and he said, "You guys are going to be playing arenas with this. No one's going to hear that detail in an arena.
Yeah.
You know, you need play chords that are going to sound big and good when we play in these giant halls." And he was right. Not only was he thinking about how is it going to sound on the record, he thought ahead a year. How's this going to sound on the road?
Yep. Yeah.
That's the genius.
So we can make even more money.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, Brock, you've really hurt me this episode.
You're welcome.
I mean, really, really hurt me. But at least,
Just by insulting your McConaughey?
well, yeah. Because you brought me up, you lifted me up, and then you threw me against the rock.
Oh, sure.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
You're welcome.
But at least I wasn't a friendless virgin at 20.
Correct. Oh, I wasn't friendless. It's just that my friends were also trying to get Windows 3.1 on the internet and not getting laid.
He was a software dealer.
Brock's first girlfriend was Netscape.
Netscape Navigator, to be exact.
I used Netscape Navigator. That was the first search engine I ever used.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, well, that was the first one I used with graphics, but I go further back. I was on the internet before graphics were on the internet.
Brock at 17. If you walked up to him and did this, he wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Well,
For those of you listening to the show,
trying to fit a parallel port into a serial jack or something.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Ah.
It's a miracle you ever procreated.
This is true.
I mean, you have made a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. With sex. This
That's
program
how it
brought
works.
to you by Power Plant on Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. They have audio things for cars and trucks. Power Plant.
Power plant. Power plant. Power plant. I hate the clap so much.
God. You know what? We've done a terrible show today.
No, it was good. I think it was good.
Okay, it was good. I'm going to leave a little bit sadder than I came into the studio.
Yeah.
You know.
No.
But I mean, I mean, it was tough love, right? That was tough love.
Yeah.
Or were you just being an abusive dickhead?
I do that sometimes.
Okay.
Are we wrapping it? Are we?
Well, don't you think I mean, where do we go from? You think it's going to get better from here or worse from here?
Well,
I'm not touching
We're
the
us.
eggs, man. That's next.
I mean, that might be the first episode where I did not reference Screen Day. And I had this whole tirade about Rob Cavallo, their producer, in my head, and we just didn't get there.
But
I feel good.
yeah, well, I'm glad you feel good. I'll just cry myself to sleep tonight.
To cry yourself to sleep in your terrible Matthew McConaughey voice.
Matthew McConaughey
All
crying.
right.
Matthew McConaughey crying would be.
While he's sitting in his Lincoln.
And that's been Rock and Roll the podcast. We want to throw a big thanks, obviously, to our amazing sponsor, Power Plant, powerplantweb.com to find them online. And of course, I'd like to thank Tom for doing the podcast.
Thank you.
And
Yourself.
oh, now there's a bleep.
Oh, now there's a bleep. Is that my first bleep?
That might be your first bleep. Congratulations.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Feeling real good about that bleep.
Pretty please share this podcast with a friend, with a loved one, with an enemy. For God's sake, share it with somebody because we are continuing to expand this thing. Looking forward to it. And we've actually talked a little bit about maybe one of these days we'll go out and do this thing live somewhere.
I think we were going to do on the road.
Yeah. Because there's a possibility that there might be a business opening in Nevada that we're very excited to visit. And we will all look for any excuse to be there on the company's dime. So until the next time, my name is Dr. Nick Redbone. That is Brock Johnson. That is Tom Nelson. Peace, love, and rock and roll. We're out of here. Tip your waitress.